The first film in the brand new DCU, James Gunn's Superman, has hit theaters, and I thought it was a perfect start to a brand new golden era for DC. I've always considered myself an enjoyer of Superman. I kind of like the original Christopher Reeve film, but I love Zack Snyder's Man of Steel. That made me kind of nervous because I do prefer the darker Superman as opposed to the trunks-wearing big blue version. Fortunately, I trust James Gunn. He has a track record with comic book movies that very few people have, and I am happy to say that he absolutely delivered with this new film. His dedication to this bright and colorful style was surprisingly refreshing. I was in love with how this movie looked ever since the first frame. The snowy atmosphere with the Fortress of Solitude is crisp and cool. Metropolis itself looks smooth and grand, but it's the world overall that I love so much. Outside of how it looks, the world building that James Gunn does in this movie is second to none in the comic book movie landscape. You're put right into a world where Superman has existed for years. Other superheroes are just casually a part of this world, and I love how nothing is really explained to you. This is just a 2-hour pocket of time in a universe that truly feels alive. Most movies are crammed full of exposition, explaining every single backstory and reason that things are the way they are. But James Gunn makes it our job to keep up with this world and group of characters that he's simply just letting us into. On the characters themselves, I think that David Corenswet and Rachel Brosnahan, at least chemistry-wise, blow Henry Cavill and Amy Adams out of the water. There's a discussion to be had about their individual performances compared to each other, but together they're an electric duo, just like Superman and Lois Lane should be. I do want to highlight how phenomenal David Corenswet is in this role, though. It's surprising. You don't usually see someone come out of the blue. Like, I've seen him in some other things, but nothing big. And all of a sudden, he just comes in and dominates this movie with the screen presence of someone who's been acting in huge roles for years. Same with Rachel Brosnahan. I mean, nobody would think anything if James Gunn cast some A-lister, but by casting two people that aren't exactly Hollywood icons, he not only allows for them to become their character and not just, oh, that's Scarlett Johansson in that Jurassic World movie, or oh, that's Pedro Pascal in that Fantastic Four movie. You say, oh, that's Superman and that's Lois Lane. There is no preset opinions. This is your first impression of them. What that also does is pretty much establishes both of them as high B-list, even low A-list actors going forward. Don't be surprised to see them cast in some pretty big projects in the near future. But honestly, I do think the standout here is Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. Gone are the days of the morally ambiguous villain that is right in their own way and can be justified to a certain extent. I mean, no, this man is the most hateable, purely evil person I've seen in so long, and it's great. He is so annoying, it's so frustrating to see him succeed, but it makes it so satisfying to see him fail, and that is honestly a feeling that you don't get from superhero movies much anymore. I didn't realize how much I missed hating villains. Like, I haven't been that mad at a movie character in a long time. In terms of the supporting cast, that's actually one of the only problems I have with the movie. There are probably, I'd say, 5 or 6 too many characters in this film. Starting off with the Daily Planet crew, there's Jimmy, who is great. Then there's Perry, the editor-in-chief, who doesn't get nearly enough screen time. Then there's Cat Grant, who is just kind of there. Then there's Steve Lombard, who is also just kind of there. And then there's this guy, Otis, who I can't even remember if he has a line or not. He doesn't even have a character poster. It sounds like I'm not making any sense right now, but I promise I'm not just criticizing background characters for being background characters, because you'll know when you see this movie, all of these people play a major role in the finale. How are you going to set up a finale where all of these people have a big role and us barely even know who they are? I don't know, it didn't bug me that much, but it was glaring. There's also Lex's henchmen, Ultraman and the Engineer, who also don't get enough screen time. Then there's Ma and Pa Kent, who get a decent amount of screen time, but not quite enough for me. Then there's the Justice Gang, which is Green Lantern, Hawk Girl, and Mr. Terrific, who are all great. I have no complaints about them. Then there's all the U.S. agents and representatives, including Rick Flag, and they're all just nobodies, unfortunately. Then there's Lex's girlfriend and all of his workers, who kind of toe that line of they're on screen for too much to not have a name or any background, but also they aren't relevant enough for us to care about their name or their background. I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain, but I don't love all the character decisions here. All of them come together to create a really dense story, which sounds like it would be a negative, but from a story perspective, I thought it was just fine. In fact, this movie felt more like a comic book than just about any other comic book movie. What I mean by that is that not only are we thrown into a world that is very much already established like a comic book, but the story moves like a comic as well. You know, like in a comic book, it goes really fast. There are a lot of characters and a lot of stuff happens in a short amount of time. Well, that really describes this movie to a T. There are like 3 or 4 huge fights, lots of action sequences, there are multiple little offshoot storylines, and it just packs a lot into this 2-hour runtime. It also just looks like a comic book, with its direction and popping color. Overall, I thought that Superman was a fantastic start for James Gunn's new DC universe. I gotta say, not that I think it will happen, but if you were to try to overtake the dominant cinematic universe of the last 2 decades while it's at a bit of a low point, MCU, then this is exactly the movie that you would start it out with. David Cornsweet and Rachel Brosnahan have an electric chemistry together and perfectly embody their respective roles. I love the story and how it moves, I love the score, I love the action, and I think that the movie looks amazing. My final score for Superman is an 8.8 out of 10. I know this is just my opinion, and I would love to hear yours. Did you like Superman? Did it live up to the hype to you? Or did it leave you disappointed or wanting for more? I really do want to hear it in the comments below. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos just like this, and God bless.